All right, I hope you had an awesome day today. I am the Stonk Dad, and I want to go over today's price action, the trade I got into, and the what went right and what went wrong today's regarding flow data, market data, and all the shebang. I'm going to keep this video really, really short, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know down in the comments if you have questions about this little review, this recap of today, or if you just want to talk to me, whatever. All right, let's get right into it, guys. So today we had a very, very awesome day today, actually. It was pretty much a trendy day, although data was kind of iffy for most of the morning. It did pick up quite a bit going on to the last half of the day. And I did take a long trade, and I'm going to show you guys exactly when I got in and kind of my idea surrounding why I got into the trade that I got into. So normally, I know I say this almost in like every single video, but I always wait first 15 minutes of the market to really gauge what the market's going to be doing and what direction we're going to be going. So within the first 15 minutes, we kind of got an idea. We did get a nice push up about 30 minutes after the market opened in calls, and puts were well below. So, okay, I'm thinking during that time, okay, we're going to have a really nice day. We had a nice push up at open. We have green convergence still. And I was getting ready to get into some long entries actually, which now that I look at it now, it probably wouldn't have been the best idea. But during live while I'm looking at it, I'm always making sure like 100% that it's going to be a good setup. So in this case, I waited a little bit. It kind of chopped around a little bit. We pulled back, and then gray convergence started. And then that's when I noticed that call flow started to head down a lot. And normally when I do get into long positions, I do want to see some call buying and put selling. But in this case, we only saw call selling. So this green line went down and it headed towards zero. So that kind of just voided my long entry there for the time being up until a little bit later on in the day. So we kind of chopped around with flow heading around zero, and then I noticed this large uptick in calls, and that pretty much continued on for the remainder of the day. But that's the first thing that I noticed that triggered my attention. And if you guys are in Discord, Oasis or the Stonk CEOs, you can definitely you know when I get excited about things on live chat and stuff. But when I see calls move like that and puts are well below, that sets off the trigger that I should be going long. So I did actually miss this entry here, this green convergence flip. Normally I do take that, the green convergence flip, if call flow is really, really high. But in this case, calls were around zero, so I did not take that green convergence flip. And then I watched it go up a little bit, which is kind of hard to see. But I did notice the little pullback that we had here and then the large uptick in calls. And that's when I entered a call position. I believe I entered like right when lunch started. It was around 9 a.m. Pacific time. But I can show you on the chart here kind of when I entered. So I did see this break of structure on the 455 level, which was a very crucial level, which we've been bouncing off lately. But we bounced... Or sorry, we didn't bounce. We broke above this 455 level, and we kind of consolidated it, and we broke down below, and we hit this little EMA here. And you can see it a little bit better if you're looking at the 9 EMA or the 15 EMA on the 5-minute chart. But in this case, this is a 5-minute chart just on the right-hand side of my screen here. And this is the Rip Street EMA clouds. It's basically the same thing as 9 and 15. It's just an average of a lot of them. But in this case, you could see we pulled back to that EMA, and we had a nice bounce here. I did get in pretty much at the very low of one of these candles. I'd have to go back and look at the exact time that I did, but I'm almost certain that I did catch this small little pullback here, and we kind of continued up in this uptrend that we had on these EMAs, which is very pretty to see. So someone in the Discord asked me what levels did I begin to take profits, and how much did I scale, and where did I set my stop loss as we continued this trade. So normally what I do is when I get into a trade, I normally start scaling around like 10% or so. I always want to start taking profits when I see green, because no matter how good data is, it can always reverse on you. So the best thing to do is start scaling out of profits and then just leave runners. So in this case, I did take some profits around 10%, and I took most of my position at about 20% gains. Now I did hold a couple runners, but those ran to about 45% or so up at the high here. But I just continued to set my stop loss on those runners down a little bit higher each time it went up. So in this case, I took most of my profits at 20%. That's usually always a go-to. I always take most of my profits around 20%, 20 to 30% or so, depending on how quick it goes up. But yeah, so normally what I do in that instance, I take most of my profits around 20 to 30%. I leave runners, and then I just slowly move my stop loss up. So in this case, it did hit 42%, but I did not get out of that. It hit my stop loss after it had a little bit of a downtrend here. I believe I got out most around 20%. Like even the runners, I think my stop hit around 20% or so. I think I just set my stop loss to what I sold my last contract at. And that's usually what I do for the most part, especially on really nice trend days. Those are the kind of the plays that I really like getting into because I can hold most of the day. And especially when flow is really, when it's like this, I really enjoy getting to those trades, and those are the trades that I kind of look for. So that's a long ramble on that little trade that I had. But yeah, I think other than that, it was a pretty good day. The data was pretty easily readable. But there were some things that were iffy. I know the thumbnail here says what went wrong, but there were a lot more good things that happened today than wrong things. But one thing that I did notice that went wrong was these 0DTE gamma exposure levels kind of threw you off a little bit. So for the most part, I always look at flow first, and then I look for levels like 0DTE gamma exposure. So we did have a lot of movement in levels here, which a lot of them didn't really work out. As you can see here, this large downward momentum on this 454 level. We never hit 454, but it did kind of notify you that there was going to be a little bit of a pullback in the market towards the end of the day, which is kind of cool to see. But that's the only complaint that I have today about what went wrong is if you look strictly at the 0DTE gamma exposure levels, you could have probably gotten thrown off a little bit with flow because I noticed that there were a couple levels down below that were negative, but it moves so much that you just kind of keep your eye on it. If you're really trying to focus on the market and what levels are going to hit, these 0DT gamma exposure levels move a lot. So you have to be on your toes a little bit. Okay, so that's the video, guys. It was an awesome day. I'm glad that I took a green trade today. And yeah, let's get it tomorrow. Tomorrow is FOMC, so be very careful. Papa Powell can throw the market wherever he wants to. All right, guys, with that, I will see you guys tomorrow.